Sometimes I see articles and sometimes I look at them and I really do think to myself, what is the company behind these messages actually thinking? And when I think of that sort of thing, it's mostly because recently we have seen people receiving messages on PlayStation 4 from Sony saying you should upgrade to PS5 if you want to play the best games coming out this year. Understandable, but the thing is though, it's almost like sometimes that a lot of these people, maybe they just can't afford a PS5. You know, I didn't get a PS5 until 2022 because I couldn't get one anywhere. So saying that to people, okay, fair enough, it is, 6 years or coming up to 6 years after the actual launch, but some of these people may not even have the funds for it. And the reason we're talking about it is because of this article. So, Sony is quietly suggesting PS4 players upgrade to PS5. So earlier today, images surfaced online of a system message. A system message. Not just, dear whoever this is, blah, 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 gaming, whatever, you should do this. It's an actual system message. Sent by PlayStation Direct to users on PS4 consoles. The message was suggested that, take a look at the latest deals on PS5 consoles to upgrade and avoid missing out on some of the biggest games set to launch this year. Midway through 2024, the split between the PS4 and 5 was 50-50, which is quite insane considering how many consoles that PS4 has sold. With tens of millions of gamers worldwide still using the 2013 console as their flagship gaming device, it's time to give it the PS4. Now this is what Insider Gamer is going on, and they're basically like, the same thing, Well, it's been on the market now for 5 years, you should really think about upgrading. But again, no, like I said, people may not be able to afford it. PS4 console dropped in 2013, so perhaps it's time to finally bite the bullet and make that upgrade. That is, unless you're holding out for the launch of the PS6 and are prepared to skip a generation. So first of all, with that as well, Sony has done a bit of an interview where there's some other people are like, well, we don't actually think it's going to drop until late 2028 or maybe after, which kind of goes in line with the other consoles and everything else. Mostly, again, when you look at PS4, that came out in 2013 and 2020 is when they dropped the PS5, which again is 7 years. So 2028 kind of matches up. But the thing is though, with PS5 and with the Xbox, to be honest with you as well, there's no games at this moment for this gen, for current gen, to be like, look at this, you can upgrade. Because literally, you are still getting some of the biggest games still launching on the PS4. You're still getting them. Again, it is going to turn out the similar way of PS3 and PS4 where, their games are going to go until a dying day. A bit like PS1 was as well, actually, and PS2. So now this is what the actual message is stating, the one that is surfacing online. Whether you're catching up with hits from 2025 like Clear Obscure, Expedition 33, Ark Raiders, and Ghost of Yote, or getting ready for the most anticipated game of 2026, including Saros, 007, Neo 3. I'm surprised it hasn't got GTA 6 on it, to be honest with you, because GTA 6 and Sony have the partnership, the gamership going on. All the ads will be stating that, PS5 Pro and all this kind of stuff. And so much more. Now's a perfect time to upgrade to a PS5 console. Scan the QR code to see the latest deals on PS5. And then it goes on though with them saying that perhaps it's good guy Sony trying to pull players in the right direction with their gaming hardware, or maybe it's a method designed to coax players away from a withdrawing platform that they've started sunsetting. Yeah, it's really interesting to see how Sony are going about this, because like we said, this current gen on consoles across the board, there's nothing spectacular about the games, there really isn't. And seeing now that they're like, oh, you should go and get a PS5 now, yeah, get this. I really don't think a lot more people will be buying them. Actually, no, scratch that, to be honest with you. If GTA 6 comes out, obviously now there's a whole rumor as well stating that there's not going to be any physical copies until next year, which I kind of get. But if GTA 6 was like going to bundle a game with a console, that is the one that would sell like anything. It really would. But then obviously in October of last year, It was revealed that some PS4 titles would have certain PSN features switched off this year. Well, that's interesting to see. We'll have to have a little look-see and see what those are in another video. But yeah, it's an effort by Sony to start winding down what has fast become legacy hardware and software, especially as eyes turn to whatever comes next in the PS6. Yeah, it's interesting, it really is. It's when you look at certain things, and with this, like we were saying, if you can afford a PS5, that's fine. You know, you can still play a lot of the major games that are currently out on the last gen. Let's have a little look-see actually and see current big games on PS4. Let's have a little look-see. So PS4, see what we got going. Because there's a lot of games that you can still get on the PS4. You know, it's like you got ones by here. Obviously, if you look at this, Simply Games, what we got. So obviously you got Terminator, you know, but you still got Call of Duty on there. You still got FIFA, you know, NBA, Little Nightmares. You know, there's so many things still out on the PS4. You know, wrestling still. Obviously Black Ops 6, but that came out last year or the year before. You know, you've got to see you've still got a lot of the newer games still coming out on this console. So I don't really see how they're going to be like, oh, you should do this. You should get rid of your console and go for a PS5 instead. It's almost like they want, you know, PS5 to be like, oh, we want to know that we've sold more than PS4s. But you know what? Let's have a little look-see and see how many consoles they have actually shipped, shall we? So, PlayStation 5. Base, yeah. So far, they have shipped, of November of last year, 84.2 million units. Which is kind of interesting that literally they sold 10 million units last year alone. Okay, pretty cool. Let's have a look at PlayStation 4. Let's go down to PS4, see how many this done. 117.2, but that was of March 31st, 2022. So it's interesting. You can still see by there. You know, units sold September 2020, there was 113.5, but then 2 years later, they shipped a further 4 and a bit million consoles. So people are still buying the PS4, still to this day. And to be honest with you, the PS4 is actually a really good Blu-ray player still. You can still play a lot of cool things on it, and as it says by there as well, the console supports 4K resolution multimedia and stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on with that people can still play on. But yeah, it's interesting to see how Sony are like, oh, send him a message. Scan this QR code to get a good deal. It's a little bit like what they currently do, that you could have one PlayStation, 2 accounts, and prices will be different on each console. Well, each account, I should say, not console. Yeah, that has actually come out. You had one guy post a photo of his account, I think it was Little Nightmares, and the game was like, I think it was like 40 or 50 quid, and on his wife's account on the same console, it was something like 10 quid cheaper. What? You know, it's absolutely crazy. But let us know down below what you think about this, folks, because, well, do you think this is a good marketing strategy by PlayStation? Personally, I think it's a bit of a kick in the face because some people, like we said, cannot afford to buy a new console. And to be honest with you, the games are still like 10, 20 quid more expensive. But let us know down below, folks, what you think of this. As always, my name is Dan. I'll see you in the next video, so take care.